September, that's not 3 months. When did you go to court? I mean, June.
I started.
Think they're gonna find me?
I got a big idea where to go.
I do too, so by the time.
Where's your blanket?
Where is she? She's all right.
Yes, that's where
I gave out the tender mass. I gave this cake.
How you doing, sir? Good, how are you? Good. And I don't have, I'm not strong enough to buy shoes that way. Because they would never be white after I took them out of the store. I couldn't even get them out of the box.
Yeah. Too fresh them up, huh? Yeah. That's a little bit of thing.
It looks good.
No, honestly, that's why I was surprised about
Watch your stuff.
I was being careful. I just missed you.
Good.
Did you get on the back? Did you get your stuff to check? Oh, you were. I almost to the wire. You all done? Okay. How you going next year? Like Friday?
I love my job.
You don't want to be that alternative, right? You gonna be an alternative?
No, I'm pushing to get I like
Thank you for coming out tonight. Working on this
everyone, and welcome to our Monday, July 14th organizational meeting of the Southampton County School Board. I'd like to call this meeting to order and open the floor for nominations of the board chair. Would someone like to make a nomination?
Yes, I would. I would like to nominate Dr. Beverly Goodwin as board chair.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right, are there any more nominations? Okay, let's vote then. Dr. Goodwin is nominated as board chair, been properly second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. Congratulations, Dr. Goodwin. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues, for giving me the opportunity to continue to serve in the capacity of school board chairperson. I certainly appreciate the confidence in me, and I pledge to do everything I can to make our meetings run smoothly. But just thank you for your continuing confidence in me. So the next item is the election of the vice chairperson. Is the floor open for nominations?
I'd like to make a nomination of Ms. Horace Lane.
Okay, Ms. Horace Lane,
A second.
second by Mr. Scott. Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Brandon Rogers.
Other nominations for Brandon Rogers? And a second. Any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, then the nominations is closed for vice chair. So we will now vote on the vice chair position. So all in favor of Horace Lane as chair, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For Ms. Lane, all in favor of Mr. Rogers, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Mr. Rogers. So Ms. Lane received a larger number of votes. So Ms. Lane, you are now vice chair. Thank you. We're now down to the election of the clerk and the deputy clerk. In the past, Ms. Artis has served in the capacity of clerk, and the superintendent has been the deputy clerk. Any thoughts or any decisions about making changes there?
I'd like to still nominate.
Okay, so we have a nomination of Ms. Artis as clerk and Dr. Shannon as superintendent as deputy clerk. Any other nominations? Then Ms. Artis will continue as clerk, and Dr. Shannon will continue as deputy clerk. There are no objections. We meet on the second Monday of every month here in the Commons area. So we do need a motion to continue to meet at that time.
So moved.
We have a motion by Ms. Lane, a second by Mr. Smith, that the board will continue to meet at 7 p.m. the second Monday of each month in the Southampton High School Commons area here.
Dr. Goodwin, could I make a request that we put a standing work session in every other month, just so that we have it on our books and we don't have to look for a time every, when we go through. So perhaps in the middle of the 2 regular meetings every other month, it would be nice to have that standing work session just on our schedules, and we can cancel it if it's not needed. Just a suggestion.
I did a little digging into that. So this past year, we had 6 months that we had 2 meetings, like one called and one regular. 1 month that we had 3, that was budget. And then the rest of them with 1. So if the motion was made, I'll second having a work session every other month.
I think it would be good if we would make that motion so that we know the time, like if it's gonna be the 4th Monday or the 1st Monday or the first Wednesday, if you could give us
Right. So I'll make a motion that we have in addition to our regularly scheduled 7 p.m. second Monday of each month meeting, that we would add a scheduled work session starting at 6 p.m. on the fourth Monday of every month, or every other month, I'm sorry.
So that would be like starting in, so you want to start like like August, I mean, tell me, you know. Say it again, Mr. Smith.
Starting in September.
So starting in September.
I think, aren't we gonna have to have a special call meeting or a work session this month too on goals? Or, I mean, that's part of our agenda
Well,
for the next meeting.
that's on the agenda, that we need to have a call meeting in July and in August. So, so you want to start in September, October, or?
September would make it September, November, January, which would put it,
That would avoid December being a fourth Monday standing meeting.
and would give you January and then the semester.
Yep.
Yeah, and November, we have the SBA conference, so, I mean, that, unless we needed another meeting, that could count for
So,
November.
so a work session on the second, on a work session at 6 p.m. on the fourth Monday of September, November, January, March, May, and July, is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those are 6 work sessions. So to paraphrase Mr. Rogers' motion, I think, is that we will have a work session starting at 6 p.m. on the fourth Monday of September, November, January, March, May, and July. Was that your motion, Mr. Rogers?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that your second, Dr. Kendall?
Yes.
So all in favor of adding a work session to our regular calendar, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So we will add that in. So we do need some authorizations. We need authorization for the vice chair to act in place of the chair.
Make a motion.
We have a motion by Ms. Bond. Was that a second by Mr. Rogers?
Yep.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We need to authorize the deputy clerk to act in place of the clerk.
So moved.
Was that a motion? Was that a motion by Ms. Hobbs and a second by Ms. Lane? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Designating who to attend meetings in the absence of the superintendent and to report to the State Department of Education.
Dr. Michelle Blunt.
And authorize designating Dr. Blunt to attend meetings in absence of the superintendent and to report to the State Department of Education. Is that a motion by Ms. Lane? A second by Mr. Smith. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We need to authorize to set the salary of board members at $5,000 per year, with the chairperson to receive an additional $300 per year, and to set the mileage for regular meetings at 32.5 cents per mile.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Rogers, a second by Ms. Lane. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We need to authorize the signing by the chairperson, the superintendent, for payrolls for school board employees. Motion by Mr. Smith,
Second.
a second by Mr. Rogers. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that concludes the authorizations and the elections. Having no further business, we can adjourn the organizational meeting and go into our regular meeting for the month. So with that being said, the time is 7:15 p.m. and I would like to call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Southampton County School Board. We have all 9 of our school board members present, so indeed we do have a quorum. The agenda was included with your board documents. Is there a school board member who would like to add an item to the agenda?
Yes, I'm gonna add some items.
Under what?
I think matters for the board.
Matters from the board?
Yeah. I'd like to, do you need to know like the topics for them?
Pardon me?
Do you need to know the topics?
No, I just need to say, matters from the board would be, what is it concerning?
Additional agenda items for every month, like additional standing items. And then procedures for responding, for the superintendent responding to requests.
Okay. Is there another board member who'd like to add an item to the agenda?
I'd like to add an closed session, personnel issue.
Okay. Is there another, Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, I've got one. Under matters from previous meetings, I'd like to revisit the stipends that were paid at the end of the year.
Say again now.
I'd like to revisit the stipends that were paid at the end of the year, or the bonuses.
Mr. Rogers, interview stipends. Are there other board members who would like to add an item to the agenda tonight? So do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? We have a motion by Dr. Kendall, is there a second by Mr. Scott to approve the agenda as amended? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes from the regular June 9th meeting and the special meeting on June 16th were included with your board documents. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If there are no corrections, then the minutes are approved as distributed. We do not have any recognitions this month, so we are now down to public comment period. So although Virginia law does not require us to hold a public comment period, the Southampton County School Board chooses to do so because we believe it's important for us to hear from our community members and we value their input. The public comment period is a time for board members to listen to the concerns and views of individuals regarding Southampton County Public Schools. However, those persons speaking and those persons in attendance should not expect board members to respond to comments or to answer questions through the public comment period. People who wanted to speak during public comment period should sign up prior to the start of the meeting. Each speaker has a 3-minute time limit. We do have a visible timer so that speakers will know how much time is available, and speakers cannot yield their speaking time to another individual. Speakers should address their comments to the board, not to the superintendent or the other audience members, and we ask the audience members refrain from comments and demonstrations such as booing, hissing, and clapping. We had one person to sign up tonight, and that was Victoria Edwards. So Ms. Edwards. Mr. Rogers?
Yes. So when we first discussed the end-of-year bonus for staff, we did ask the question about bus drivers and transportation folks being eligible for that. And then we heard last month one of our public comment speakers raise concerns that the full bonus was not given to a number of the drivers. I was just wondering if we could get some clarity on the positions that were offered that, and if it's possible to revisit taking care of some of the folks that are responsible for taking care of our students to and from school.
And Dr. Shannon does have that information about the bus drivers and the number of hours they. Dr. Shannon, this is what we'll talk about in closed session because it involves specific people and specific numbers of hours that people work. What is that?
And we could potentially take action after closed session if there was any action needed at that point.
Right, once we, because she needs to name.
I'm comfortable with that.
Name, or employee name, so. Say the personnel matter. So if we can move into closed session, I'd appreciate it.
Dr. Goodman, can I take a moment and say something?
Yes.
I would like to take a moment just to dispel this narrative that we have of failing schools. As long as I've been on the board, I remember all schools being accredited. We have some schools, I think this year, that are even distinguished. I would really like to dispel this myth that we have a failing school system that has become watered down, run down, and it's tired. Let's find something else to talk about because we do not have a failing school system. We do have a school system that may be changing in some aspects, but it is not failing from my standpoint. Failing school systems means we have schools that aren't accredited. We have things that aren't being done properly. Now, we're not perfect, but we do not, by any means, have a failing school system. That is a tired narrative that we need to bear. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. So we're now down to action items. So the first action item is the payment of bills. Dr. Shannon.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Carr is coming to the podium, so she can discuss.
Good evening. I do want to remind you that our Southampton County Schools does operate on an accrual basis of accounting, and therefore we will not have a final June expenditure report until all of our 10 and 11-month employees' salaries are paid, and all of our outstanding invoices from FY25 are paid. So therefore, we don't feel like we need to present a budget to the public that's not fine. But the June bill list has been attached to the agenda for the board's approval. So if you could take action on that, I appreciate it.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that the board be provided with regularly updated income statements that reflect the revenues and expenses to date so that we can balance that against a bill list that we're approving. Stopping that practice at the end of the fiscal year does not allow me to make an appropriate decision about approval of bills. And so I'd like to ask that we require that be presented by the superintendent or her designee each month.
So, Ms. Carr, you understand? You know, I guess I'm trying to just hear from the superintendent and to determine exactly what that looks like. You know, we're trying to reconcile the budget to the bank statement. What is it that we're trying to reconcile?
Well, an income statement's a traditional document that shows your revenues that have come in throughout the course of any period of time. It could be a month, it could be a year, it could be a quarter, and it also then shows your expense by category and allows you then to make a determination that your revenues are keeping pace with your expenditures and vice versa. And we get a partial one of those throughout the year. We get categorical expense spending, but we don't get categorical revenue, so that we know what to expect based off of changes to average daily membership or things like that that might be an adjustment to.
So instead of the report that talks about the percentage of a line item spent, you want to know the actual dollars of that line item spent. Because the report we get now will say like whatever the number is, it'll have the amount that's in the category, amount that's spent, and then we talk about the percentage that's been spent. So you want the actual.
I think it's got the actual breakdown of dollars. It doesn't have any of the revenue on it, and even though I understand the accrual-based accounting, it doesn't make sense at the end of the fiscal year to not continue to receive that as it's updated, as that accrual accounting is taken care of and adjusted throughout the next couple of months before we close our books.
So Ms. Carter.
So what you're asking for, I think, is you want to see the same thing that has the percentage of what's been spent on it as we go through the allocation. If we present that, then the public need to understand that this may change because we're still doing spend at it. But if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is you have a hard time approving the bills not knowing if we're above 100% yet. You want to make sure we're still under 100%.
And also, there's no reflection of the actual revenue received in that report. It's based off the budget number, not the actual revenue dollars received from state, local, federal, etc.
I thought you gave us that information. I think Ms. Carter, you need to jump into this conversation, explain to us what you actually give us now, and to talk about how you can incorporate what Mr. Rogers is asking for.
Well, I mean, I did create a report that's very similar to what you see every month that shows you where we stand at this moment, where we stood as of June 30. But the thing is this report is not final, and we don't want to confuse the public. But I do have a report, and I've noted that also, that this does not include our payrolls that we have to pay for our 10 limit employees, also our unpaid invoices and our end of year adjustments to state revenue. So, I mean, I have a report that I can distribute, but I just was concerned about it not being final, and so I didn't necessarily want to produce it to the public with it not being final. But if you would like, I have copies I can hand out to just if you wanted to see where we stand.
I think it's appropriate to note outstanding items that aren't reconciled and to note that it's not a final product. I think that's part of the process, though, is understanding that it's not final and that we still have bills that we're approving right now that will count against those reports.
My question is that something that the public needs to see, or is that something we can look at in closed session and then we determine whether that information is going to be best suited to be presented?
It's publicly available information, anybody can request it.
Every report she does is public information?
The school's financial accounting is publicly available, FOIable information.
So I guess what so on the report that we get from Mr. Rogers, like you'll have instruction and has the original budget, and it has the revised budget. So you want to put in another line that shows why that changed. Like the original budget was 24,236, and the revised budget is 22,833. So, and then she has the year-to-date expenditures and the balance.
I think there's a difference between revised budget and actual revenues received, and Ms. Carr can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but tracking revenues as they come in would be different than a revised budget, which would be reflective of anticipated revenues that would be received throughout the year.
Well, yes, the information that's provided here are actually revenues that have been appropriated. So, we do have, years ago, if you recall, Dr. Goodwin, we had a monthly summary report, expenditure report by revenue line item and expenditure line items. And we can produce those as the county closes each month. They stay several months behind, but once they close for the month, then they distribute that, that can be distributed. What I tried to do at this point is to keep us up to date, with the latest information. But those reports are still available, but the board, opted out of that years ago because it was very detailed line item by line item, but, those reports are still available. The, data processing department still runs them for us, which shows the, revenues that have come in by line item and the expenditures. And that may be what you're referring to if you've seen a report from the county.
Or I would wonder, the report that we're currently getting right now has the column for original budget, revised budget. Could a column be added that says year-to-date revenue received? Because I think what I'm hearing him ask for is that we know what is supposed to be appropriated in those, but can we get something that shows what percentage of that has actually been received at this point?
We can, but I feel like that should be a separate report, because when we have revenues come in, we have, like, for instance, the state revenues. We have basic aid, we have all these different categories of state revenues that come in, and we can show you the revenues that are in. But to be able to break them down by categories, they all go in to support the local operating budget.
And I think we're asking for them to be broken down further. I think as long as they're up underneath these major categories that we're looking at right now, so as opposed to breaking it down and making it really detailed, I think one column added to what we're getting right now would that suffice for what you're asking for, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I wasn't asking for any more detail than the broad categories that are up there, just an actual depiction of the revenue that is being received.
How much of it has been received? We know what the revised budget is and how much of it has actually been received.
Well, I can give you a bottom line, but we don't receive the revenues by category. They come in and I can give you a breakdown of what revenues are coming in for the local operating budget. But the revenues are not broken down by category. Like basic aid is not all instruction. And it doesn't, we would have to.
No, that's not what I was asking, just,
Okay.
I wasn't trying to make that much work.
Okay.
No,
So
just the revenue line item.
Just the one rate for the whole entire operating budget, I can do that.
If you're gonna get $10, and we've gotten 9 of those $10, then just reflect that we were anticipating $10, and we've got 9, so we're 90% of the revenue that we anticipated. That was all.
So for extra column, you don't want anything on it but the total.
I think that's sufficient unless there's another board member that wants more.
Ms. Carr, I think what you said that you used to do, or I think you just get those to Mr. Rogers.
The original reports?
Yes.
Yes, and even if I just run the revenue report, there's like 1 or 2 pages for the revenue. And it will show like how much we have budgeted for basic aid. Okay, how much has come in? And this is not something I have to create, this is right off the system. So this is just a report I run. So it will show you how much we have budgeted, how much has come in, how much is remaining to come in. And that's a simple, maybe 2 or 3 page report that I can run and, for you on a monthly basis. Okay?
If it already exists and you don't have to create.
Right, it's not like I'm creating something and trying to fit those revenues into these categories.
So we are agreeing that you would do monthly revenue in addition to
the regular.
In addition to what we have, the local operating budget, by state category preliminary expenditure report. Now you're also going to give us the revenue report, so there will be an additional report that will be included.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what we're saying? Are we agreeing, Mr. Smith? Is that what we're saying?
Now, keep in mind, I can give this every month, and what we will do is still call it preliminary, because like I said, the county is, they're all the time posting things that, on the full basis or the month before. So what we would do is I would run the report from the system, and it would show, that information. It would be preliminary, but it would at least show, like, from the State Department, we get 2 payments every month for basic aid and all the other different categories, so it would show those. Okay? All right, I can do that.
So we're gonna include, as of, August 1, as of our next meeting.
Yes, ma'am,
We
for
will
the July,
include
yes.
not only the state category preliminary expenditure report, but you will include a preliminary monthly revenue report.
Yes, ma'am.
So is that what you're asking for, Mr. Long?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay.
Would that include all revenue or just just the local operating, because revenue is all of our title funds and all of.
It's gonna
that kind
include
of
all,
stuff.
yeah, it's going to include all of them.
All of it, okay.
Right. But now, a lot of our title programs are on reimbursement
Reimbursement.
basis, so, maybe months before you see any funds show up.
Right,
for those guys.
right, because it looks like we're in a deficit, but it's really because
Right.
they're reimbursements.
Yes, but the state funds, they roll in, every month, right, by month.
Okay, we are agreed, Dr. Shannon, that effective, August, that the board will receive a preliminary monthly revenue report effective with the August meeting.
Yes,
Thanks.
okay, no problem.
And now because I was a pain, I would make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
So we have a motion by Mr. Rogers. A second by Ms. Bun. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, thank
Then we
you.
have approved the bills as presented. The next item is the Virginia High School League membership application, Dr. Shannon.
Thank you. Our school system is a member of the Virginia High School League, and as such, we are requesting permission to pay the enclosed balance. We have 17 sports in which our students participate, and those 17 sports are listed, and the balance that is due to the Virginia High School League is $3,457.50, and that's for our membership and participation of our students in those sports.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith.
Second.
A second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The next item is the VSBA membership dues, Dr. Shannon.
Yes, our school board is a member of VSBA, and in order for us to remain members of VSBA and receive their legal services as well as policy services, we will need to pay $5,731.43. Some of the services that they offer is listed on the paperwork behind the actual invoice, and it includes board leadership development, professional services, advocacy and communications, and then networking and collaboration. So those are the broad topics. And again, the amount due is $5,731.43.
So moved.
So a motion by Ms. Bun, a second by Mr. Lane. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Every year at the VSBA conference in November, there is a session that approves the Ms. Bun, you've been our representative. You tell us what goes on in that session.
So it's actually any of the, what they're looking to lobby for and some of the things that they want to put forward for policies. So it's really just going through and looking at regulatory matters and what changes that they send you information ahead of time. You have a chance to read through it, and if you get there that day, they usually have probably 6 to 7 things that come up each time that are things that they want to move forward on. Everybody has a chance to get input on that.
So we need a volunteer, and I know the session usually takes all afternoon, and that person represents our board concerning those policies. And we do have to let VSBA know who our board delegate will be and who our alternate will be. So you'll do it. Okay, so our delegate is going to be Ms. King. And do we have a volunteer to be the alternate? In case Ms. King is not there, Ms. Hobbs. So you should receive the information from the SBA and, so you can read over it. Thank you so much for volunteering. every time that we reorganize or when we get new school board members, we do ask school board members to sign the code of conduct for school board members. And this is a code of conduct that was developed by VSBA, but that we ask our members to sign. There are 12 items there that we ask our members to adhere to. And just say, as a member of my local school board, I will strive to be an advocate for students and to improve public education. And to that end, you can read through those and ask school board members to sign. So if you support that code of conduct, would you please sign? Ms. Artist has a copy. Hopefully, I guess I'll get an agreement that we will sign the code of conduct for school board members.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe that's the action item, to sign the code of conduct. So I guess we need a motion to accept the code of conduct for school board members. We have such a motion. So it's done a motion by Dr. Tyndall and a second by Ms. Hobbs. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? But then before you leave tonight, would you please sign the code of conduct that Ms. Artist will have? So we're now down to use of facilities, Dr. Sharon.
Yes, we have Ms. Norma Jones, who is representing the Franklin Tri-County Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, and she is requesting permission to utilize Southampton High School on May 30th for the Jabberwock Scholarship Program. And the time of the rental is at 12 noon, and because they are a nonprofit organization, we have the adjusted fees on the back sheet, and it's $130.50.
Motion. Mr. Scott. There's a motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Ms. Lane. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The next, there's another facility request, Dr. Shannon.
Yes, we have Ms. Jessica Banks, who is representing the Pearls of Excellence Foundation, and she's requesting use of Southampton High School as well on June 6, 2026, from 5 until 9 p.m., and that's for the cotillion, and she's requesting the use of the Commons cafeteria as well as the auditorium. Again, they are a nonprofit organization, and her reduced fees are attached.
So the motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Ms. Lane. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We're now down to item H. At an earlier meeting, the board agreed that starting with the 25-26 school year and the superintendent evaluation cycle, we would have the superintendent to submit or share with the board. We'll start the evaluation cycle by having the superintendent discuss her goals for that school year. And I had suggested that we do it, and I think I had said something like July the 16th, but we never agreed on a date in July to do it, so that's why that item is there. So we do need a date that we can meet to talk about the superintendent's goals. I'm going to use the form that included in that evaluation, the DVOE evaluation packet that has a form that the superintendent can use to talk about the goals for the year. And I'm sure that in that discussion we'll also talk about what some of the board goals are for the year. So there'll be a discussion about the board goals, but coming out of that meeting, we should have superintendent's goals, and that the board will agree that those will be the goals. We need a date for that meeting. So would you like to meet next week? Is there a day next week that we could meet, or another time in July that we could meet to talk about that goal setting, superintendent goal setting meeting?
Use the 28th, that's the 41 day. We're ready to schedule the work session every month starting in July.
I'm available on the 28th, and we just came up with the schedule tonight, so I've got to adjust my schedule.
Yeah, so the superintendent is going to not be available. She's taking vacation in July. So is there, is anybody available is there a date next week that we can do this?
I can do the 30th, I just can't do the 28th.
I can't do it. Okay, so if you look at your calendars for July, so, superintendent is not available on the 28th. I'm not available on the 30th, and Ms. Hobbs is not available any day next week, correct? So that leaves us the 29th and the 31st. Okay, what about later this week? Is there a date later this week that we can meet?
I'm out of town from Wednesday on this week. Sorry.
So let's look at August. So, is anybody available August 4th?
Or can we look at, like we were talking about sometime. So like sometime that last week, if I can do remotely that
Remote when?
I am July, for, like to attend the meeting remotely.
For what date are you talking about?
Any one of those days that last week that we were talking about.
Oh, I thought we had discarded the last week.
That's what I'm saying. If everyone else is available except me, I don't mind joining remotely.
Right, but remember there was one day that I'm not available, another day the superintendent's not available, another day that Ms. Hobbs is not available, I thought.
This is the 31st for everybody.
If I can do remotely, then yeah, absolutely.
So, July 31st, which is a Thursday. When are you going out of town, Ms. Hobbs? We have to have a quorum physically present, so, will everybody else be able to be in person, because we need a quorum physically present in order to have the meeting. So, or we can move it to August 4th. Is everybody available August 4th?
I'll be out of town on the 4th for training.
Right? Okay, so I guess we're back to July. Well, I can make myself, does the 30th, I think I was the person who wasn't available on the 30th. Will the 30th work better? So I can just delay mine. I won't be on the 31st either. So will the 30th work?
31st works better for me.
Okay. But Dr. Tender, would you, could you be physically present on the 30th?
No, I'll be on that entire week.
Okay. So we might as well do the 31st.
6 o'clock.
So let's make sure we're gonna have a quorum physically present on the 31st. So, how many people are available at 6 p.m. on the 31st? So, okay. And then, okay, so we'll have a special meeting at 6 p.m.
Or can we say that we're going to move the work session for July from the 28th to the 31st? I mean, we're not going to do meetings both nights, so it's going to be July, because we just voted that we would start with work sessions in July. So.
Well, I didn't, for me, that was July 26th. I thought we started this schedule in September. So that's why I worded it that way. So September, November of 25, and then January, March, May, and July 26.
Okay. But then this will, we need to post it and advertise it in the work session for the first and 6 p.m.
Correct. So 6 p.m., July 31st would be the board work session. Now, usually in August, and usually it's in early August, we have a work session where the board talks about and listens to like a year report from the previous school year, and then talk about the upcoming school year, where we could talk about like the organization structure or I don't know, just planning for and we used to just call it a planning meeting, and we used to do that in early August, before people come back, before faculty and staff come back. So is there a date in August that we could meet to have this work session, this planning session? This is planning for the 25-26 school year, but like I said, including that report, including that meeting is when we get information about, the performance for the previous, for the year we just ended, and attend, just we get data about the previous year as we plan for the next year. So,
Is it possible to do that, like, on the 11th, the same day as the regular session, just starting at 6?
this just takes more than an hour, because all of us like to talk.
Is it possible to combine it with the meeting on the 31st?
Because all of us like to talk.
Because they kind of go a little bit hand in hand when you're looking at the superintendent's goals as well as our planning for the next year. So could we, knowing that we made the meeting longer, would probably be 6 to 9:30 or 10, yeah. But would it be easier to stay and do a long 3 or 4 hour meeting as opposed to finding 2 different nights to come back to back week to week?
But that, 4 hour meeting would be a lot for me. I can do whatever the board chooses. And we're already going to do one the motion.
Well, it'd be 3 weeks because you got the board meeting right after.
Right, that's what I'm saying, 3 weeks, it would be this meeting, we would be off next week, and then 3 weeks in a row.
So, what's the board's thinking about that?
I would rather see the data and everything for before we see, like, either the night that she sets her goals or before. If the data that will drive her goals, so we can see that information first. So that's like a natural progression. Data comes before goals.
Well, the superintendent already has the data. So she already knows.
I know,
So
but
these are
she's gonna be
superintendent-
presenting goals on data that we haven't seen that.
But her goals will say something like, improve something by blank %. So she could do her goals before we get the actual report, but she's not going, because she has the data. But if you want to collapse those meetings, we can. Just know that it'll be a very long night, because all of us like to talk, so. But if you want to collapse those meetings, we can. But it would probably be like a 4 hour meeting or something. So we have, 2 hours to, review the 24-25 school year and to talk about the 25-26 school year. And then we would talk about the superintendent's goals, and then we would talk about perhaps board priorities and goals. So it would be a fairly long meeting. Is that? Somebody say something.
I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and suffer through a long meeting rather than 2 shorter ones.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Rogers, a second by Ms. King, that we will have a work session on July the 31st, starting at 6 p.m. And that work session, we will, during that work session, we will see the superintendent's goals for the 25-26 school year. And we will talk about the organization structure and plan for the 25-26 school year. So it was a motion by Mr. Rogers, a second by Ms. King. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So Ms. Artis will we'll do those, whatever it takes to announce that we're gonna have a special call meeting. So we're now down to the superintendent's report, and the first report is instructional report, Dr. Shannon.
Ms. Gillette, would you come to the podium and give that report? Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, board members, and all present. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. I do have the July instructional report, and we'll be looking at okay, moving on. Phil?
Just say next slide, Kelly, I got it.
Okay, next slide. Summer reading, the Summer Learning Academy, our summer school, and VLA updates. Next. So we're very fortunate to be able to send home books to all of our K through 5 students. This first slide talks about the K through 2, and you'll see that they received 10 decodable text, a printed activity sheets for each book, a family letter that's printed in English and Spanish, and links to topics online with videos. And this is tied to our curriculum based on continuing the fluency levels, and these decodable books are tied directly into the science of reading, which is we have to have with the Virginia Literacy Act. And it was taught during their previous school year. So they're very familiar with it, and we want to make sure they keep up their skills during the summer, and this will help, and has parent involvement. Next. And then
Before you go, Ms. Gillette,
yes.
we sent these books home, but how do we integrate that into what we do in the fall?
Well, we sent home the books with the activities for the students. And, you know, several of our students do not have books at home anyway. So it's an opportunity for us to send home books. And then if they do not come to summer school, then they go all summer without having anything to connect to what they did previous school year. So this is in hopes of continuing what they learned, having these books at home to practice their skills so that maybe they wouldn't lose as much instruction coming into the new year.
Right, but the idea is that to ensure that students understand that it's important, for parents to understand that it's important, in my opinion, there should be something that we do at the beginning of the next school year to integrate some of these books that students will have already read. So there should be some back-to-school activity or some back-to-school reward that students will get if they can demonstrate that they have looked at this and that they practice those.
Sure, absolutely, because you know we do have copies left over at the school level, and so we can hand those out to teachers and make sure their new teachers review these skills, because they will be practicing the first couple of weeks on getting used to everything, reviewing previous skills. So that's excellent. We could definitely put that into motion and make that a common theme moving forward.
Right, yeah, so that students would take seriously practicing these skills, because they know that when I get back, you know, we're gonna talk about whatever the name of the book is.
Yes.
Pet rabbits or something.
Yes, and so that moves on to the 3rd through 5. They were given packs of books on their grade level. And these were specific, they're diverse stories. They're paired with activities that are with the books to support development outside the classroom, and each pack is curated to address a critical theme related to student success. And we could definitely do that with K through 5.
Yeah, same thing, so that students,
Yes.
so there'll be some carryover from what students do during the summer, what you call the summer reading list or something.
Yes, ma'am. Next. So, and I wanted to give you an update on the Summer Learning Academy, our summer school. The teachers have dissected their data, and they're providing whole group and small group instruction based on the individual needs of students to master concepts and prepare for the next grade level. And as you can see, elementary had 68 students, the middle school has 92, and high school has 52, with a total of 212. And I just wanted to go over some of the criteria for the summer school If any student scored below 400 on their math or reading SOL, it's recommended they attend summer school. If they are in danger of being retained at a grade level, or if they need remediation or intervention to improve academic skills, they're recommended. A teacher or principal or any other person can recommend a student to attend summer school. Any student who performs below grade level in math or reading is also recommended. And also, if any of the assessments we do, like vowels or the assessments we give with benchmarks, they could also be used to recommend students for summer school. Yes.
The elementary number looks low. Is that?
It's maybe a little bit lower than last year. Sometimes we have years where second grade has 30 kids. This year it's fourth grade has more kids than anywhere else. But yeah, we send home letters to all the kids that are recommended. And you actually don't have to be recommended. If you want to come to summer school, you're more than welcome to come. We don't deny any child to come. But we send home the letters. The principals call each parent and ask them to attend. So we go through that and then provide the bus routes for the students. And those are the 68 we have.
So that's 68 total from all four schools?
Yes. So, for example, kindergarten has 10, first grade has 8, second grade 12, third grade 8, and like I said, our bigger group for fourth grade is 14, and sixth grade has 6.
But I think what Dr. Cullen is saying is that the enrollment numbers are low compared to previous years. So they look a little bit low.
I don't know previous years. I'm just thinking, I mean, we have, I mean, we're at least 800. Because, sorry, I was trying to quick math in my head. It's not working well. 2, 6, 8. And we have almost 1,000 elementary school students. And only 68 of them are coming to summer school.
So fewer than 10%, or less than 10%.
Yeah, I mean, that's like 5%, almost 5%.
I think it looks like we had like 101 in elementary last year. How many, maybe the question might be, how many students were identified and sent a letter home that would have benefited from going to summer school based off the criteria?
The criteria I just told you, every student that met those criteria received a letter.
But the
and
question is
asked
how
to
many
attend.
students received the letter? The
And
question is how
cost.
many students received the letter?
I'm not sure exactly the exact number from each school. We do have a list where the principals, we have a Google Doc where all the kids are listed, and then it'll have decided whether the parent accepted or not. So I do have numbers of recommended, I just don't have the Google sheet in front of me, but we do have that for elementary.
Because how many elementary teachers and teacher assistants for summer school are we employing for 68?
So right now we have 12 elementary teachers, and that includes one of our English language learner teachers, and also it includes one special ed teacher and one special ed para. So that brings us down to 10. So again, I can bring back numbers from that.
And don't get me wrong, I understand having smaller classes in the summertime. Obviously, it is better when you can have more one-on-one. But I mean, we're talking about 6 kids in a classroom.
Well, and I think the question that we're trying to get to, and since you don't have it in front of you, we can carry it over to another time, is how many people were invited to attend and how many accepted, and then what was the reason, or did we dig deeper to see why they didn't accept? Is it something about timing? Is it something about,
Well,
maybe
that and, if we're anticipating, just say we're anticipating 150 kids to come, and so we hire 10 teachers, and, and then when we only have 68 that come, why are we keeping all of those teachers and paying them to have 5 kids in their class and that's if every kid shows up every day?
So, like I said, I do have the Google Doc that has all the kids that were recommended. And they do have notes to the side of what the parents said, so I'll definitely be able to get that information for you. I was trying to see my other sheet about that. So, based on the numbers, you know, the classroom that we have 2 teachers in would be the 4th grade, and then we have 1 teacher, you know, each other the grade levels. And some of the split between the math and the reading the kids have. So I did mention that each one of them, the elementary, the middle, and the high school, each of them has a special ed teacher and a special ed para. That's at each grade level, so that takes off the number of that too. And then at the high school with our kids, we do have some of our kids taking an SOL. They took the class, if they failed the class and they were able to retake the class and then retake the SOL. We have 3 math kids, 3 reading, 2 writing, 13 history, and 8 science. So for kids that are taking SOLs at the end of the summer school,
repeat the subjects. I'm sorry,
math has 3, reading has 3, writing has 2, history has 13, and science has 8.
No, the students take advantage of the free virtual classes. I thought we offered at the high school, I thought there were some free virtual classes that students could take.
So yes, the Virtual Virginia, so a regular summer school with in-person, that began June 28th through July 30th. But we went with Virtual Virginia with these children, started June 18th, and they run until July 23rd, I'm sorry. And so at the middle school, we have 5 students enrolled in Virtual Virginia. And to be able to do Virtual Virginia at middle school, it had to be able to be an advanced class. It couldn't be a class that you failed and you were retaking. So we do have kids taking Algebra 1 and Geometry. At the high school, you could take a class for advancement, and you could also take a class if you had failed during the school year, you could take it virtually as well. And we have 12 kids that are doing that.
So are those numbers reflected in these numbers?
Yes.
How many did you say at the high school?
Yes.
And how many staff members do we have in the middle school?
At the middle school, we have 8. And that does include the special ed. And it's 2 in 6th grade, 2 in 8th grade, and then 3 in 7th grade, since that was very large. We had to divide that into 3. At the high school, we have 9 teachers, but 2 of our teachers only teach the first session in the morning. They don't teach the session in the afternoon. Yes, that includes the sped teacher and the para.
Is there 1 sped teacher or 2 at the middle school?
There's 1 sped teacher, but at the high school, we do have 1 for special education, but we also have another pair for special education for the students that are in the regular classrooms.
So when you say 1 special ed teacher, you mean that's for ESY, or is that
Yes.
to support the kids that get?
We have 1 for ESY, and then another to support the kids in the regular classrooms.
Is that at elementary, all 3 levels?
No, just at high school.
Do we have ESY for elementary people?
Yes.
That's the sped teachers at the elementary.
So the para at the other ones are the ones in the regular classroom, or the para is for ESY as well?
One of the pairs is for ESY as well, so we have the teacher and the para in the classroom.
So is there anybody providing special education support for the students in the regular classroom or something?
At the high school, we do,
Not the elementary?
not the elementary, or the middle, but we do have the opportunity for smaller groups because we do have paraprofessionals that are able to help with the small groups. Any more questions about summer school?
Any additional comments, Dr. Chairman?
I just have one more thing. I would just be careful when you speak on the data when you say special education teacher, because ESYs should not be lumped in with summer school. it's not intended to be summer school. And I would think that would probably have a separate budget line as well than your regular summer school.
So I'll make sure that next meeting that I have a breakdown of the students who are invited, and possible reasons why they did not attend. So we'll have those numbers.
And here they are.
Thanks, Bill.
Rochelle, not me.
Okay, so Rachel is very well. She wrote it down. So we're looking at, for example, kindergarten, and it goes right, go across Rachel, Caper, Maharan.
Do the circle numbers and, yeah, that is a process caper and.
So, for example, kindergarten, 28 were invited in the county, 39 first graders, 32 second graders, 37 third graders, 45 fourth graders, and 30 fifth graders were invited.
What total of how many students?
211.
Is that from just Cape or all of them?
That's all of them.
So that's how many were invited?
That's how many were invited. And then we had 68 attending.
You got about the third.
So the 211 was just for Cape?
No. So that was everybody. For example, when I'm looking at kindergarten, 4 were recommended from Capron, 3 from Maharan, 4 from Nottaway, and 17 from Riverdale.
That's all
In the bigger.
that's what
So it gives me a total of 28 kindergartners in the division. And like I said, each child was sent home a letter, and then each child was called as well, and asked to attend.
But I think the concern is the low enrollment rate. So if you invited 212 people and not even 50% accepted the invitation, you probably need to dig deeper to find out why. And maybe you're gonna do that anyway, and you'll follow.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, some of those 68 kids that were not invited that came, correct?
I'm sorry.
Some of the 68 elementary that are attending may not have been on that invited list.
They might have come, have asked to come.
Right, so we don't know.
Yeah, if she does some kind of following and we'll dig deeper,
Yeah.
You can find out why parents decided not to accept the invitation, and I'm sure you can figure out how to follow up.
Yes, ma'am.
Why they didn't accept that invitation, then maybe for next year, because it is a decrease from previous years.
May I ask a question?
I'm sorry, you're fine.
May I ask a question? You get a consequence, right, for not attending, but he's supposed to attend. Is he being socially promoted, or is he gonna be retained? That's the question.
I'm sorry, you mean like at the middle school, if they're asked to attend? If they're asked to attend at the middle school, that means they failed math, English, science, or history, all 3. And to be promoted, they must pass math, reading, and at least science or social studies. So if they don't attend summer school, then they don't pass the next grade level. They're not given that opportunity. And also, we do give them the chance of missing one of the summer school days. Now, there's only 22 days that they come, and they're making up a whole year of work. So if they do not come 2 days, then they're not allowed to come.
Additional questions from Mr. Ladd? Additional comments, Dr. Shannon?
No, thank you. I appreciate everything, Ms. Gill.
Sure. Okay, and I just wanted to give you just a brief update on the VLA. We continue to excel with the VLA. We do have our revised literacy mission that we have put forward. We just added a few things based on released information for the VLA throughout the year. And we just added that students in grades 6 through 8 will receive phonics and a word analysis instruction on individual student needs based on the core supplemental intervention. Because last year we did up to 5th grade, and now we're including 6, 7, and 8. Also, when we look at targeted intervention, we're now looking from the state, we're targeting students that scored below or below basic on their reading SOL for grades 3 through 8. And then we did submit our Division Literacy Plan, our DLP. We submitted on June 30th. It's a 2-year plan. It includes kindergarten through 8th grade, as I just said. And it's posted on the division website, along with the BLA report card is also on the website. VDOE has contracted with the UVA to conduct special training for K through 8 reading specialists for the 25-26 school year, and we have further information coming on that. A Canvas course report, as we talked about earlier in the year, every teacher has to complete a course for DLA. And we received a report on where our teachers are in completing the course. Now, we received it from the VDOE, but we also been keeping up with ourselves. And teachers are required to complete the course prior to the start of the next school year. And the middle school, going into the BLA, they'll continue to use Houghton and Harcourt into reading as their core reading program. They'll use Lexia also for the reading with supplemental intervention program. Axel will also be used as a supplemental program. And I noticed that, I just want to remind you that when the middle school has their open house on August 27th, right after following that open house, we will have our kickoff for the middle school with the DLA. We had our kickoff last year for elementary, but we'll still have a table with someone there with information for parents there too. That's it.
How many teachers have completed the Canvas course?
We have quite a few that's completed it.
Did y'all give them a time, like a date that they have to have it done by?
Well, we told them it has to be done before the end of the school year. But to be honest, towards the end of the year, school year, we have a bunch more pull in. We have some that finished it, very close to being finished. To be honest, we have a couple that haven't started. So they'll need to be finished.
Additional questions, comments?
Thank you, and I'll have that information about the students for summer school next meeting. Thank you.
I think for the next meeting too, Mr. Lake, you probably want to talk about the number of teachers who have completed the training that Ms. King just referenced.
And hopefully we'll have everybody finished. 100%. Next more meeting. Got it.
Thank you. Dr. Shannon, the next item is maintenance and transportation.
Yes, Mr. Melvin's on his way to the podium to discuss maintenance operations, student transportation.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, board. Few updates of what's going on this summer. The summer maintenance is underway at all the schools. Our maintenance staff has been traveling school to school, refinishing floors, working together as one group to knock them out a little faster this year. HVAC repairs from outside contractors have been completed at the middle school of replacing some big time blower motors. So those are, and also there's more repairs ongoing. Summer school transportation in and out of the county is operating 5 days a week. We'll have final numbers at our August meetings as they have been roller coasters. Number of kids on the bus and going in and out of county, as kids go on vacation, parents are out of town, those kind of things impact those numbers. Edge of August completed their hardware installation on all of our buses, and now it is updating the backside, and we'll have it up and ready to roll out to the parents in the community in mid-August to keep that continuity of the app where they can track the buses. The routing software is being updated as well. They introduced a new program called Athena, and it is a much easier program to use, much better for us, and it makes updates and changes much faster and much more efficient for us. The module units out here finally got the electricity into them. Trenching for the sewer lines is next, and then they will install the ramps and they will be ready for this upcoming school year. Next. Summer school meal services continue. A reminder to the community that there is available free breakfast and lunch for all students, all children within the county ages 3 to 18. In June, we welcomed Mark Ruffin as our new food service supervisor. Mr. Ruffin comes to us with more than a decade of school food service experience, so it's a great addition for us to have on our team. Hunterdale is being prepped and ready for Fresh Start to return back to Hunterdale this fall. The high school, middle school, and Riverdale gym floors have all been refinished. As part of the school security equipment grant, the fencing around the height of the middle school, Maharan, Maharan, Capron, and Riverdale is ongoing. And so that continues on. Now, our school safety surveys are being completed in conjunction with the Department of Criminal Justice, and the school security equipment grant for FY26 is underway. That is due August 1st. Got an email tonight at 6 o'clock from the state about the Sunbucks, so that's not on there. I do apologize, but they just sent it this afternoon. The first payments will be coming this Friday, and this is when we did the EBT piece. This is I think it's $120 per student for summer feeding from the state, actually from the USDA. Now, households can apply up until August 15th, and I'll put out the flyers that they sent today. I'll put those out on social media and everything tomorrow. And that has additional information and links, contact information for parents to apply as well.
What do we have in the modulars at the high school? What's in the modulars at the high school?
They will be CSEP.
Were they originally in the school building and now are being moved out to the modulars, or they've always been in the modulars?
It's been a transition back and forth. They were in modulars. Modulars were not habitable. And so we brought them inside, and now they'll be going back into those units, and they will have restrooms.
They all ADA compliant?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. That's the last step is the skirting and the ADA ramps that go on to them. When you leave out, if you go by the two units are behind the VOTEC and the middle school, exact same setup, exact same ramps. We'll go in there. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Melby, as a part of your report, would you please go ahead and speak to the health building and update regarding that? And then would you also address the traffic lights that was brought up?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. So the building here at the high school, we did get a price from Rebel Builders to build the building. But part of it, when it came up, that didn't catch in the site plan was to do some demolition work of take out asphalt, take down some fencing, relocate some sheds, get rid of 2 sheds, and talking with Rebel about making an adjustment on that to avoid that site construction cost. And so he met with the folks that did the site plan this past week, and they did agree that a possibility that we would have a good savings if we did move the building, but it could significantly impact our timeline. So we would, if we're wanting to go forward with the building where it is, we could have them breaking ground in 4 to 6 weeks. That's how long it would take to mobilize that. As far as the lights at Capron go,
Can I ask questions about the building thing first before we move on? Where would it get? Where's the alternate location?
Just to the west of the high school, kind of, it's adjacent to the baseball field. It would just be probably, there's a small ditch that runs, it's just yeah, and it would start there and work its way west to accommodate a bigger building, get it away from behind the baseball diamond.
What is the division's thoughts on that site?
I'm sorry?
What is the division's thoughts on it being at that site versus the current one that was planned for?
So those 2 sites, just so you understand, we're literally talking about just moving it around within 1 feet. It's not like we're going to a whole different location. Right. It's just one would be more to the side of the school as opposed to the other being more behind it. Just
so is that what we're going with? We're gonna go with?
Well, that's to find out if we want to pause this and take the chance to take more time to do these plans. I put a call in with the Timmons group today and have not heard back from them to find out why they had such a delay, suggested such a delay, because that was the original site that we had looked at and had started to develop.
So we're going with the site that the architect recommended. Right. I guess Mr. Rogers and Ms. Bunny have been working with this project?
So, yeah, and so some of these are like developments that are happening over the course of the past week or two. So if we need to get together again, once you hear from Timmons Group, because it sounds like that's what we need to do, is look at how long would it be delayed if we change something, what the savings would be if we did it that way. And so it sounds like there's some things that we need to work through.
Because it sounded to me like we need to leave it where it is to get the project completed, right?
Right, and so that's, I mean, yeah, we need to look at what is going to be the cost of the current location versus how much savings is there to move it, and how does that get delayed.
We already have in the budget the money that would be needed to clear that stuff that they mentioned, the asphalt and things. Is that already budgeted for?
Yes.
So I have a question about the funding, speaking of budget. So I thought that originally we decided we were using ESSER funds for this, correct?
That was the original pool of money that it was coming from. I don't want to call on Joy, but she can probably explain.
All of those had to be encumbered.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. But we would not be using ESSER funds to do that at this point.
Okay. So I don't want to put anybody on the spot tonight, but
The funds would be coming out of the school construction fund that was appropriated by the General Assembly in '23. And we have confirmation from the state that with it being a student health building, it is appropriate use of those funds, and we have the funds within that line to make it happen.
School construction fund?
Yes, ma'am.
And because that was not the original plan, is that taking money from a different project?
No.
Or that was just money that
The
can sit
state
out there?
appropriated to us, and we were able to carry over into this fiscal year.
Thank you.
What's the anticipated delay? I remember you mentioning it to me.
Yes, ma'am, and the email I got from Rebel, he said it could be 4 to 6 months. Today, when I spoke to him on the phone, he said up to 4 months. So he said you need to talk to Timmons Group, and that's when I put a call into them to get better clarification on the timeline.
Mr. Rogers, any comment?
No, I think that it comes down to what's the cost savings on whether or not we can experience that delay, and I would also need to know how does that impact the ability to use those funds that are currently available if that's going to go away. But I don't know that we have all the information to make those decisions.
As soon as I hear from Timmons, I will reach back out with the committee and get everybody on the same page with that. And we can go from there and make that decision.
So I thought our goal was to have this construction completed before the start of the next school year.
And it was pulling teeth to get contractors, not only to accept even looking at it, but to provide a price. Oh gosh, I just lost it. Whiting Turner was another company that I reached out to in April. Got them all the plans, they were all about it, and then they went dark for like 6 weeks. Didn't hear anything back from them. And now all of a sudden they're back sniffing around, asking questions and whatnot, and they claim they're gonna have a price on the 18th. Is that Thursday or Friday this week? So that's part of the reason why. It's not that the want desire was not on our side. It was finding someone who wanted to take on the project from a contractor side.
Because I just think a 6-month delay would be detrimental to us. I mean, we waited 6 months, and I don't know what kind of construction we want going on while students are in the area, so a 6-month delay is not a good thing for us.
And are we no longer doing are we no longer moving forward with the project, the Parent Resource Center at where central office is?
No, ma'am, that's been almost a year, that project.
So hopefully at our August meeting, the committee as well as the superintendent and Dr. Melby will be able to give us an update, because from the board perspective, remember that Mr. Rogers and Ms. Bunn are the board representatives to this construction committee, and they're working with Dr. Shannon and Dr. Melby to get this completed. So hopefully we'll have a report next month. And hopefully that report will include a timeline.
Dr. June, it sounds so good to hear you call him Dr. Melby. I totally forgot. I'm so sorry, Dr. Melby. I'm so sorry. I called you Mr. Melby.
Congratulations. Yes, thank you. All right, so the lights at Capron, I'm not sure what to even say with that. But the eastbound lights were the ones that were an issue for the longest time, and we replaced them, and the boards didn't work right. I went out and rewired them myself, got them to work correctly. The company drove up, 2 guys, they went out there and changed the boards out for us because they were brand new, and they functioned through the end of the school year. So we haven't had didn't have any issues after the last 2 weeks of school when I went out and rewired, and those guys were out there. I think it was the last Thursday of school that week, 12.
So the lights are functioning?
Yes, ma'am. Well, not right now because they're turned off for the summer.
I mean, but the
They
operation.
are fully functional at the end of the school year. Yes, ma'am.
And we paid to have them installed.
We bought them and we installed them ourselves.
Additional questions, comments?
I have one
Yes,
other question, follow up from last meeting. Did we hear anything back about the cell tower?
I have not heard. Who?
Okay.
Say that again, Mr. Rogers.
Just wondered if we heard any follow-up from the supervisors regarding the cell tower in Nottoway.
Dr. Shannon, do you have that communication?
No, I don't have any communication tonight regarding the cell tower, and we haven't heard anything back regarding the cell tower.
However, we did get a letter from I thought you had received a letter.
I did, and that letter that I received stated that they were going to move in another direction.
Right.
Yeah, that they were not, entertaining the Nottoway campus anymore, but they were going to move in another direction.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're down, Dr. Shannon, to locally awarded verified credits.
Yes, ma'am, and Dr. Harris Muhammad, our Director of Testing, is on her way to the podium. This has been something that she has worked on very diligently this year, and it does look like it may require a policy change, so she's bringing that to the board.
Good evening, school board members, Madam Superintendent. Thank you for having me this evening. As the superintendent just shared, I have worked throughout the year diligently on revising our current policy, I as in igloo, K as in kite, F as in father, A as in apple, for those that are watching, our locally awarded verified credit policy. The current policy, if you have reviewed that policy, does not include students without an individual education plan or a current 504. The current policy states in the second paragraph that students who are eligible to receive credit accommodations, which is a process that is submitted through the State Department of Education for approval to receive locally awarded verified credits. Students with an IEP and or a 504 are eligible to receive a locally awarded verified credit in all content areas that require a standard of learning assessment test. So the policy should be, and actually must be, revised to include students with IEPs and 504s as well as students without. And that is before you this evening for a first reading. Are there any questions?
Just that I don't have a copy.
of the old policy or the.
It's okay, she'll attach it.
Okay, yes, yes.
So this is the first read, for this revised policy. I guess board members are asking to see the old policy.
We can make sure you have both.
There's nothing.
There's nothing attached.
Ms. Artis is attaching it right now as we speak.
So we'll take no action, this is the first.
It's a first read.
On the policy. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, Dr. Shannon, is the software utilization.
Yes, and curriculum and instruction has a representative on their way to the podium. It's Rachel Doyle, and she'll discuss the software utilization. This is something that we actually discussed at least 2 times at length in my office before we made any purchases. And so Ms. Doyle is just going to share with you all basically what she shared with me when we talked about which programs we would and would not move forward with this year.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, board members, and all present. Thank you for the opportunity to share the process the instruction department follows to evaluate the instructional and digital programs the division purchases. Each year, we gather data and have extensive conversations about each program and whether or not we plan to move forward with a particular digital program. We want to be sure that we are using programs that benefit our students academically and also programs that are effective, teacher-friendly, and also have teacher buy-in. This year, we also provided staff with a digital program survey, and their feedback was also taken into consideration when evaluating each program. Does Ms. Artis, do you have the list? So Ms. Artis is passing out a list of the purchase programs for the upcoming school year. I'm going to summarize a little bit about the conversations that Dr. Shannon and I had and some of the changes that we had over the last couple of years. We did have a couple of programs that were added the last 2 school years. The first is 195. It is the online platform that complements 95% Core Phonics program, which is our phonics core program chosen for compliance with the Virginia Literacy Act. The platform provides digital instructional slideshows as well as printable materials and resources. That was added last school year. Our teachers really like those slideshows at their fingertips, and they go along with the lessons in the teacher's manual and in the student books. We also added quizzes this school year. A significant number of our teachers were already using quizzes and were limited to the amount of features they could use on the platform. And we really liked the platform because it gave teachers the ability to create and expose students to TEI questions similar to what they'll see on the SOL tests, and those are typically the items that our students struggle with the most. We also have removed a few programs. This year, we removed Renaissance Accelerated Reader. AR is not grounded in the science of reading, and it was discouraged highly by our VLP coaches. We also removed Renaissance Star Reading Assessment because we now have vowels in place as universal screener in grades K through 3, and also it's not a universal screener for 4 through 8, but we already have a screener in place. We removed reading aids. That was not on the VLA approved list. We also removed Exact Path for that same reason, and also the limited usage of that program. iReady was removed last school year due to pricing and limited teacher use. And then we also eliminated in previous school years NWE math testing. That was due to the state growth assessments. We do have a couple of programs that are either grant or state funded. Walkabouts is grant funded, and then Zern was state funded fully. And then also some of the Lexia slots for this year, there were 304 of slots that were allotted by the state. We did pay for the remaining slots so that we could use that per our division literacy plan recommendations. We were also able to decrease the total bill in several programs this year in hopes to offset the increase of some other programs that may have had an increase in price as well. We also try to negotiate pricing with each company, adjust enrollment numbers as needed, and also evaluate and possibly eliminate components of some of the programs that instructional staff may not be using. Of course, all of our changes went through Dr. Shannon first, before we actually did those. In closing, our goal is to ensure that every digital program we invest in aligns with our instructional priorities, supports high quality of teaching and learning, and adheres to state guidelines, such as the Virginia Literacy Act. By gathering feedback from our educators, analyzing usage data, and continually reassessing our digital tools, we remain committed to making informed strategic decisions that ultimately benefit our students.
Question. Sorry. On the, well, it's almost at the end, about the communication, for the parent communication tool, it says remind/parentsquare. Is there a reason that we use both?
So it's actually in a transition.
Okay.
ParentSquare bought Remind.
Yes.
And so it's going through a name change. So we just wanted to make sure everybody knew that ParentSquare was the same.
Not a problem. I've used ParentSquare in other divisions and yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Any other questions, comments? Dr. Shannon, any closing comments?
Just grateful that our Department of Curriculum and Instruction, that they take the utilization of the programs as well as the funds very seriously. And as such, again, we met multiple times to go through every single software program. And this was prior to even Mr. Rogers asking. This is just something that we do anyway. And so we met and made some tough decisions. You know, some of those programs that we eliminated are programs that teachers have used for a long time. And, but if they were duplicated in some of the services that were being provided, or if some of the services were obsolete, or if they were not in alignment with what DOE stated that our students should be exposed to, then we went ahead and made the tough decision to dissolve the program.
I appreciate the work that went into this. This was very helpful.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're down to student enrollment and student teacher attendance right here.
Yes. As of June, our enrollment was 2,231 students, and inclusive of pre-K and special education. Pre-K is 2,374 students. Our projected enrollment was 2,209. And in looking at the winners of the student and teacher attendance awards, Meharry had 100%. That's amazing, student attendance for the month of June. And then Capron had 95%, so they're the winner for teachers for the month of June. But let's give Meharry a round of applause. I don't think I've seen 100% like in it forever, honestly. So that's really, really commendable for them to have 100%.
Thank you. We're down to section 8, matters from the board. There are 5 appointments that we make for the year concerning board members. And these are representatives, 4 of them are representatives to outside bodies. The first one is the Appomattox Regional Government School, and Ms. Lane has been the representative. Are you willing to continue to serve, Ms. Lane?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the Government School for the Arts, Mr. Smith has indicated that he will be an alternate, but he does not want to be the main representative. So, Dr. Tindall, are you available to be the representative to Government School of the Arts? And then Mr. Smith will be the alternate for that, please. Second.
Sorry.
But she also needs to do C-STEP, so you're saying you're gonna do C-STEP and Government School?
Same location, same day.
So so you're saying no?
No, I will be there.
can do math.
I would rather do CSA, but I would take it, and I would rather do CSA, because I teach the regular.
But so does Ms. Hobbs. So Ms. Hobbs also does special education.
Me too. Right.
Yeah, so Ms. Hobbs, we really need you to continue doing CSEP since you formed those relationships. I count on you on the CSEP board. If you would like to be the alternate for governor's school, I'm sure Mr. Smith won't mind. Just although he's been there for how many years? Since its inception. But you know, if you want to remain the alternate instead of Mr. Smith, that'll be fine. But Ms. Hobbs will remain the CSEP representative, and then we're down to WHRO. So Ms. Bond has been a representative for WHRO. How do they meet?
Just quarterly.
They meet quarterly in person. Because I know that it's during the day, so we need somebody who will be available to meet in person quarterly for WHRO, if anybody's interested.
Dr. Goodwin, nothing personal, but I just realized too, so I'm up for election this year. I'm running unopposed, so hopefully nobody writes in a bunch of other people. But I know that in the past we had discussed not putting people on committees or in, you know, like positions of appointment when there was the potential. And then I know that we have 2 board members that will be finishing their terms in December. So I mean, I'll leave mine up to the will of the board and of you all if you would rather not have me serve because I'm up for election.
Well, we'll leave it that way, and if you, or we can reverse it. Ms. Hobbs can be the representative, and you're gonna be the alternate. So. But why don't we leave it as it is? That you're the,
no, that's fine. I just wanted, I know that it was something that we had discussed.
We talked about it since you were running unopposed.
Right.
I felt safe in making that appointment since you are running unopposed. So I was hoping that you would be the representative, and then Ms. Hobbs would be your alternate. And then for CSEP, we would reverse that, and Ms. Hobbs would be the representative, and you would be the alternate for that. And then we're down to WHRO that requires somebody who can meet in person quarterly. Is there anybody who is available to do that? No.
Where do they meet?
In Norfolk.
I'll do it.
In person? Yeah. Quarterly. Okay. No, I was just.
Yeah, we're just
okay. So, so Ms. King will be the WHRO representative, and then I can be the alternate there. And then Mr. Smith, the student disciplinary committee also meets during the day. So for the student disciplinary committee, Mr. Smith will be served on the student disciplinary committee, and then I'll serve on that one also. So then what we have is mathematics is Ms. Lane as the representative, and I can be the alternate. For the governor's school for the arts is Dr. Kendall is representative, and Ms. Hobbs is the alternate. For CSEP, Ms. Hobbs is the representative, and Dr. Kendall is the alternate. For WHRO, we have Ms. King as the representative, and I'm the alternate. And then for the student disciplinary committee, we have Goodwin and Smith. Those will be the appointments, and the board clerk or Ms. Otis will notify those organizations of those appointments, please. So now we're down to item B. Ms. King, those items you wanted to discuss?
Yes. 3 items, to the like standing agenda, the things that we get reports on or information on every month. One is the amount of FOIA requests that we're getting that we've talked about before. I'd like to have a legal update, and then an HR update. I don't want names or personnel, but like, how many teachers we still need in English at the high school, or how many teachers at the high school are on a provisional, how many are long-term subs. So broken down by.
Why do you need to know that every month?
Because I mean, as a board member, I'd like to know like how we're staffing our schools.
But I think like to know and need to know are 2 different things.
Well, I'm just requesting it that it be on the agenda each month.
But we need to vote on whether or not we're going to put it on the agenda every month. So I'm trying to get to your thinking about why you need to see an HR report every month that would tell you, like the number of vacancies. So we talked about that when we do the appointment and when we do the people who resign and stuff. So we already talked about that. So I'm trying to think about why we would want to do a monthly HR report that would tell you like the number of teachers, because they have, it's not going to change. But somebody else weigh in terms of just thinking about what would be in that report.
I understand where Ms. King is coming from, and it's something that we had discussed before, and yes, we see how many people are resigning or, that kind of thing, but we don't have any way of knowing, just say at the middle school, that there are, I'm making numbers up,
You can make up numbers.
40 FTEs for teachers and 10 FTEs for classified staff, so we're seeing who's coming in and out, but we don't have any way of knowing, is that all of the people that we need? Are we still short X number of teachers? And then as far as the certified staff, are we looking at, we have 40 FTEs, but only 10 are fully licensed, and we have 10 on provisional license, or, that kind of thing. And I understand.
But to me, we're talking about staffing standards that we should have and that the superintendent can provide, because we do talk about staffing standards in terms of how many teachers per student per grade, so staffing standards would be one thing. And I'm not disagreeing with the report. I think I'm talking about how often do you need to see a report that talks about like the number of fully licensed, the number of provisional licensed, and I don't know why we would need to see that every month.
And I think that quarterly would be better. And this is and I don't know what month it was, or I would look, but we had decided as a board at one point that we would get those updates quarterly, and we have not.
Okay, Mr. Smith.
Madam Chair, I think that we are in policy, and we do not need to get down into the weeds and have people be charged.
But we are also a board that is charged with evaluating the performance of the superintendent, and as such, part of her responsibilities are human resources. So we need to know, we need to be updated at least, again, quarterly, I think would be sufficient, so that we know about recruitment and retention and all of the licensing information, and IPALS comes out, and I haven't seen an IPALS report that would show all of that. It's not a lot of work to get it. It's in SSWS. It's very easy to pull and provide to us.
If that's the case, then you already have it, correct?
No,
we don't have access to Southampton's IPALS.
Have SSWS. Each report is identified only for certain staff.
But what policy would this lead us to examine? I guess I'm thinking about Mr. Smith's comment that if we're a policy-making body, so you see this, what policy are we impacting?
I'm charged with educating students with properly licensed teachers and staff.
Right.
And if it's not something that will add to the agenda, I will FOIA it.
Okay.
I will FOIA it. That's not necessary. It's something that as a board.
That's your right to do.
But as a board, why would you not want to know? I mean, why would we not want to have that information? And, you know, it goes back to some of the other things that we've discussed knowing, and I understand, you know, that we are charged with certain things, but we're supposed to be making decisions on what's in the best interest of the kids. And the only way that we can do that is if we have the information to go off of. So for me as a board member, looking at it, it's important to know,
so if you
these are how many vacancies we have, and these are how many unlicensed teachers. I'm not asking for names.
But what policy would you change if you had that information? So the policy, what policy would you change?
I'm not
What would
changing
you
them.
change if you had that information?
It's not
What
about
policy
changing
would
a
it
policy.
affect?
It doesn't affect a policy.
Yes.
So, to directly answer the question about policy, it actually impacts the decision-making on approvals of hires, is really what it boils down to. On our decisions to approve a hire. So each month we're presented with a list of recommended individuals that would be extended an offer of employment that we vote on and approve. Much the same as looking at expenses and revenues. I have a number of budgeted full-time employees that are in the school system, and understanding how many of those full-time employees or those positions are filled makes a difference in approving those. So that's the policy it would impact.
Well, you know, again, and we probably need to vote, because from my perspective, a monthly report on how many teachers you have and whether or not the teachers are fully provisionally licensed, I don't see how that affects the work of the board. I can see doing a report, let's say at the end of each semester, you know, the superintendent include, we can request the superintendent's report at the end of each semester or something that would say, you know, we have this many positions, because we talked about staffing standards. So we can have a report that would say, these are, you know, we have this many teachers at this school, this grade level. We have to do that, and then this is the number of vacancies. But I don't see a need to do that every month. So I guess we're talking about just the time. I don't see the need to have a monthly, to know every month how many FOIA requests we got. I can understand that board members want information, but I guess we're talking about the frequency of the information and whether or not we need to do that monthly, or can we ask the superintendent to include in her, let's say her end of semester report, information about FOIA, and we do put legal matters in closed session whenever legal matters arise, so it doesn't need to be a standing agenda item, because if there is a legal matter, it's there, but we don't have a legal matter every month. But I guess the only way to go forward, you can put that in the form of a motion if you would.
Yes, I make a motion to add an HR update to our standing agenda each month.
Okay, so we have a motion.
I have some discussion before we vote. I hear what you're saying, that you need information. I would agree probably doesn't need to be on a monthly basis, so could we back up before we make a motion? Let's talk about how frequently would you actually need it. The end of the semester might not be the time that you need it. It may be at the beginning, prior to the start of the semester, is when you're going to want to look at what the vacancies are. So would that be something, if we look at it instead of in the semester information, could we get it prior to like the month prior?
September and
Or actually August, since school is going to start in September, I would think August and December, because we want to look at it prior to the start of each semester. So that would be a twice-a-year report that we would get prior to the start of the semester that would have the HR information on the vacancies.
Even August, January.
Yeah, it starts at, yeah, so probably August and January.
But Ms., what's your motion, Ms. Karen?
After listening to Denise, I make a motion for an HR update to be added to the agenda for the August and January meeting.
We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All persons who would like to have would like to see an HR report added to the agenda for August and January, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I abstain. Any no's? So we have 1 abstention, 1 no. So we will have an HR update August and January, and it'll be included in the superintendent's report.
If I could comment on one of the things Ms. King had brought up around the FOIA request, I think we had already agreed that we were just going to get a report on the number.
I'm sorry, say it again now.
I think in regards to Ms. King's request around FOIA, reporting the number of FOIA requests that we had received, I think the board already agreed that we had asked that to be provided. I can't remember if we did it on a monthly basis or quarterly, but I know that we had asked for it so that we could keep track of the costs associated with the same. And so I don't know that that needs any action. I think we just need to do what we already asked to be done.
It was decided in November, and it was monthly. It was supposed to start in December, and we did it in December. That was when we had the ginormous one. But then haven't gotten it since then. Because we asked that it be just a general, somebody asked for financial something, or, not the detailed breakdown, but when we had gotten it and what cost was being asked for, and when it was responded to.
So would that fit under superintendent's reports just as a standing item, just like instructional report, and then that way we wouldn't forget to go over it? Is that what was being asked, Ms. King?
Yes.
So again, I don't understand why we need a monthly FOIA report. So if you have, because we have a policy that says this is going to be the cost of FOIA request. And so if you know that you had 10 requests, do you need to know that every month? I mean, I don't see how that impacts what we do. Would board members like the information? Sure, but do we need it every month? I'm not sure we need it every month.
We just voted to have it twice a year. Those two different.
That was HR.
That's HR.
You just do it twice a year, and I don't understand why we need a FOIA request for it every month.
But it was something we already agreed on.
It was already voted on.
We agreed on it.
We agreed,
in the November meeting.
Did we vote on it? Did we agree on it? And I don't remember if it was a vote or consensus.
I mean, I know that was because we discussed it so that we would know, so that for several reasons, so that we would know what was coming up, and it would also, just like with HR and some of the other reports that we get, instructional. But, as board members, people look to us to be able to explain things, and the more we can do that.
Transparency.
Right.
So people in the community want to know how many FOIA requests we received.
I would think that most of them would, yes.
I mean, people I know don't ask me, how many FOIA requests did you receive last month? My constituency members don't ask me the number of FOIA requests we received.
I just think it's an opportunity for transparency, and it's an opportunity for us to be able to support Dr. Shannon. If we're getting, the more that we're getting.
What support does they give her? I mean, how does they support Dr. Shannon for her to tell us every month how many FOIA requests were received?
It would allow us to, like for me at least, if somebody came to me and said, well, I want to FOIA this and this and this, I can say, well, if you watch the last board meeting, we already had 6 from last month, and, I don't know.
And so if I was going to do a FOIA request, why would it matter to me how many you had? I was going to do mine anyway, regardless of who else asked for the request, because if I ask for this for me, it's not for anybody else. FOIA requests are for individuals. So if one person requests it, doesn't mean that the same person will request the same thing. So I guess I don't understand why we need to do it monthly, but I'll entertain a motion for whatever it is you wish, and we can vote on it.
Could we table it until we find out if it's already voted on, so we can locate it? We don't need to vote again if it's already there.
Okay. So we'll revisit.
I think we discussed it at the December meeting.
No, we discussed it.
Go back and look at the December minutes. There's discussion there. That's what was discussed previously.
Okay, so you wanna,
Can we come back to it?
well, if you can make a, whoever motion you want to make, are you making a motion that we table the discussion concerning?
So moved.
the report? We have a motion by Ms. Hobbs, and we have a second. A second by Mr. Scott, that we table discussion on the FOIA report, in discussion on the motion. All in favor of tabling the FOIA report, please raise your hands. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, okay, that's 6 in favor. Mr. Rogers, what was your vote?
I'm gonna abstain.
Mr. Rogers?
I'm reading the minutes from the December meeting.
And just as part of the discussion, I think when we talked about it before, it wasn't intended to be a really in-depth report. What we were looking for more at the time, and I think what we agreed on, was it was more for us to be able to capture how much staff time was being spent on FOIAs. So it was gonna be something as simple as, you know, in the last month, we had 14 FOIA requests, and there were 32 hours that went into fulfillment. It was more for us to try and track resource-wise what our human resource capital was going into FOIA requests. I think that's more of what we were trying to derive from it at the time. Because of course we knew we were going to be getting the big one, and we wanted to see, does it continue, how much of a burden is it placing in staff, you know, on a daily basis, and do we need to look at that during budget time, or how do we allocate for that? I think that was more why we were doing that. It wasn't so much we needed individual, we got a request for this, it was responded on this day. It was more of just a total of how many hours were spent on it.
Okay.
Just my recollection, I think that's what we talked
It was the December meeting, it would have been letter D under section 8, that was shown on, at the regular December meeting.
We do have a motion on the floor. We had a motion to second, and we were voting, and I think there were 6 people in favor of tabling the matter, correct? And 1 abstention. What was your vote, Ms. King?
I'm okay with tabling it, but can we bring it back at the special work session meeting that we're having?
No, because we already have 4 hours of stuff at that meeting. You already have 4 hours of stuff at the work session, so now you're add another hour.
I mean, I wouldn't think it would take an hour, but I asked for the request, you said no, so we can do it. That's fine.
So we can add it to the agenda for the August meeting, the regular August meeting, we can revisit it then. So you're for tabling it, was that a yes?
Yeah, I voted, yes.
Okay, so that, I think then that's 7 for tabling and 2 abstentions, so we will table the matter concerning the FOIA report until our regular August meeting. And then your next thing was making legal a standing agenda item.
Yeah, in light of the current situation and the audit and everything.
I'm sorry.
In light of the current situation with the audit, it would just be helpful to get, even if it's to say no update, there's no update, moving forward.
Well, legal's in closed session, so, and it's already on the agenda when we have something to report. I mean, so to make it a standing closed session agenda item to say no report, is that what you're suggesting?
I just think that we're not getting some of the information that we need to be getting, just like with the building and how, with that, you know, that was brought up, you know, if we don't ask these questions, we don't know what we don't know, so I was just wanting an update.
I'm missing it. What are you saying? You said just like something?
Yeah, so the building and how they might need to move it and things like that, like, I just want to make sure we're getting all the information that we need so that we can make the best decisions for kids. I mean, just because I requested something, I get it, we can vote on it and say no,
but the building is not a legal matter. I mean, so to put.
I wasn't saying, I'm just saying information in general. Like I asked, can we have a legal update monthly? If you say that we get it already, it's on there, we can move on. It's not something that we need to discuss further. It was just something I had in my notes that I thought that we needed to add. I didn't go look at all the agendas. I didn't realize it was always on closed session.
It's
just
not
something
always
I
on closed session. It's on closed session when we have something to report.
And that's,
So the question was, are you suggesting, is your motion that we always include legal as a closed session agenda item?
well, I didn't make a motion. It was just, I brought it up. Those were the three things that I was thinking would be standing agenda items that we talked about. We voted on one, we tabled one, and we can end the discussion on the legal matters.
Okay.
I do want to comment about the building though, since she brought that up. I'm the one who asked Mr. Melby to speak regarding the building, so it's not like we were withholding any information. Mr. Melby and I, Dr. Melby, excuse me, and I have been working on this project very closely for a long time. And when he made me aware of new information, I felt like the board needed to be made aware of that information. That's why I asked Mr. Melby to include it in his report. I thought he was going to do so, and once he did not, and he was finished, that's why I brought it up and asked him to make sure that he shared with the board any updates that we had. So it's not like the board pulled it out of him. You know, you didn't pull it out of him.
I didn't ask him to say that it was pulled out. I'm just saying it's missing information sometimes.
Okay, all right, because it wasn't missing information. As soon as we got the information, we brought it to the board.
Then you had another matter, superintendent response to request.
Yes, so I know that we as a board shouldn't communicate via text, because 3 or more people, is considered a meeting. But if we have requests for things that we would like, documents we would like to see or access to, if we email the superintendent asking, do we have to bring it before the board to request it, or can she respond to requests like that?
If it's a big item for a report, you need to bring it to the board, because the superintendent cannot respond to individual requests for reports that take time to prepare. So if it's a big report, yes, it does need to come from the board and not from an individual. If it's something that, that the superintendent might know, is school closed tomorrow, if it's something that she readily knows, that's one thing, but if you're requesting a large report, yes, it does need to come from the board, because she doesn't need to generate reports for 9 different people. And I think that we need to make a distinction between information that board members want and information that board members need. So, I might be sitting at home and I'm thinking, oh wow, I need a report on, how many teachers were absent last month. Well, I might want it, but I don't really need it. But if I send it to Dr. Shannon, please do a report on personnel attendance for the last 6 months. I mean, if we do it as individuals, I think that becomes onerous for the superintendent.
I'd like to suggest that what seems to be fair to Dr. Shannon has been to include the board chair and make a request to the board clerk. I mean, the board clerk is kind of our liaison of gathering information, and then that way that could be vetted and determined if it's a small thing or a large thing that needs to go on the board agenda. The board chair certainly would be able to do that, but it could be sent to the board clerk and the board chair, and that's the easiest way to get some of that information clearly requested. I'm just trying to think about a process that makes it easy for all of us to follow and that we don't step out of line. The other thing that I think that's also helpful for making sure information gets to the superintendent if we need to share it. So if I've got to share something with Dr. Shannon, I've pushed a couple of emails and said, Dr. Shannon, just here you go, have fun with this, please follow up. If we've pushed that through our board clerk, that seems like the way that other boards have operated that I've been a part of. So just making that as a suggestion.
Additional comments? Okay. So pursuant to section 2.2-3711A 1, 2, and 7 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, the board, upon a motion and a second, will convene in a closed session to discuss the following: personnel appointments, resignations, retirements, transfers, and stipends, non-residential student applications, intra-district student transfer requests, the administrative discipline report, and a legal matter. So do we have such a motion? I have a motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Ms. Lane. So all in favor, please say aye. At the end of the closed session, the board will return to this area to take action on any items that might come up from the closed session meeting.